This has to have been the most manic, crazy dream I can ever remember having. It was Bank Holiday Monday, the 31st of May. As is often the case these light mornings, I woke up at 5 a.m. and couldn't get off again. As usual, laying there thinking about things, doing a quarter of an hour's NUUU in my head, and eventually getting up. However, on this occasion, probably because I had had a fairly physical weekend in the garden, I drifted off again around 6:30, I would guess. The experience started calmly enough. I appeared to be in a bedroom somewhere. In what I seemed to know was a neighbouring bedroom, I was aware of a woman listening to some music. I instantly recognised the curse motif from Wagner's Ring, played rather softly, but instead of more of the Ring, it morphed off into some fairly tame music I didn't recognise. How annoying that was. Next thing I remember, I was in a living room somewhere I didn't know from the physical, and I saw from the right side appear an object moving at breakneck speed across the far end of the room, smashing a table lamp out of its way and going off to the left. By which time I had realised it was our dog, Lucy, covered by some kind of cloth or small blanket. This marked the beginning of a whole series of scenes flashing on almost like a video on fast forward, with little or no soundtrack in evidence. I could only recall some of them on waking. The locations chopped and changed in seconds. At one point I was in another room with my son-in-law, who was apparently moving furniture from that room to another, while I was unsuccessfully trying to remove gloves and other obviously out-of-place winter clothing that didn't want to come off. At another point I was out in the street, I think watching an approaching van. Then back indoors again in yet another unfamiliar big room, which had a kind of counter off to my left, behind which stood some kind of headless humanoid figure, looking like it was made of tightly packed, centimetre-thick strands or stems of some sort. It appeared to exude menace towards me, and I rushed over and attempted to punch it in the chest, but was surprised when there seemed to be nothing actually there. Then I was standing looking into yet another room, this time in almost total darkness, a leitmotif that appears in many of my dreams. During all this I thought I was waking up at least twice, as if trying to escape, but pulled back in again. Finally, in a determined effort, I shouted out in my head, presumably as loud as I could, "Wake up!" And I opened my eyes to find myself once again in bed and looking at the day-lit bedroom, thinking what the hell was that all about? And my thoughts about it. It's hard to know where to start with this one. There's just so many things happening, and that's just the ones I could remember. I know there were a lot more, but I guess it must be the relevant ones you are made to bring back with you. Starting at the beginning, musical commentators have over the years identified over 120 significant leitmotifs in Wagner's incredible 15-hour score of the Ring of the Nibelung. So of all those, it seems rather singular that it should be the curse motif that claims its place at the beginning of this dream. As a young man for a long time, I convinced myself that I was living out a curse, but thankfully managed to cast this off as I got older and hopefully wiser. In the dream, the theme was quite subdued and quickly superseded, whereas in the work it comes from, it is more usually blazing out at us on the trombones, though not always, depending on the point in the action when it appears. In other words, it is often only usually heard in full force when an event of the Nibelung's curse has caused, such as one of the ring's possessor's deaths in the story, is or just has occurred on the stage. At other times, Wagner cleverly reminds us of it more subtly when the characters in the plot are as yet unaware of something that's about to happen, or indeed was the reason for something that had already happened. All this said, the significance to me of a quiet playing of the motif suggests It's not of any immediate concern, but could be a harbinger of things yet to come, or maybe of things now past. I think I prefer the latter. Indeed, in a way, the whole of the rest of the dream reminds me of the so-called life instant playback reported by many people under deep hypnosis and being regressed to past death experiences. That is a kind of video fast forward of the life they've just left, as if to review it and remind them of at least the highlights and presumably low points. However, there was little of the experience that I could remember that I can in any way relate to this life so far, so I am left with the possibility it is more related to things to come, not many cheerful things at that. In particular, I can't help feeling that the scene with Lucy might signify her impending leaving us, but both our dogs are now of an age when this could come at any time, so I guess I am half expecting it and making the best of every day we still have them. Maybe I'll find them again on the real side, like in the film That What Dreams May Come, along with all my long-lost menagerie of dogs, cats, snakes, fish, and the rest of them. Who knows? And that's the end of that. Over to you, Duane, please.
Yes, hello, Peter. Yes, thank you. No, that was great. You had the experience and how you see it, and you're fine with it, it seems. And so that's cool. We all go through what we need, and there's always so many parts to it. Even can be a little picture on the wall or the clock on the table that we don't notice. That's the whole scene has been set up, but your real awareness takes it in, and there's that part of you too. Your various bodies take it in, etc. So coming back to the personal self here, yeah. So many things are mumbled jumbled because our life is very complex. You go back to the indigenous people, etc., and you see that their life was focused on survival. It was very simple, and they made sense with the all-natural environment. Today, everything is a complexity that seems to be something, but it's just complex deception and distraction is really all it is, if it's not about the natural environment. But so that's very good, and I really appreciate you stepping up and sharing, because the world needs more people like you and everyone that has the courage to do so and become more aware. Yeah, it's very important. Thank you.
Listen, I've got a very short dream experience. I'll just share it real quick. And this happened about a week ago. Actually, all it was, I was wherever I was in the dream, waking up. And all I remember to share is that I was immobilized. And I couldn't move. I couldn't make any action. Immobilization is the right word. And I was unable in any way. And so I recall that in the dream, I was calling out, or wherever I was, help. And then louder one more time. And then that one I felt, or almost thought it was my physical body, my voice. Third time, call out again, help. Real loud, real strong effort, because I just couldn't move, and I stuck, caught, whatever. And on the third, or whatever this time, I think I had called out a few times, but the two I remember, one just before I woke up, and the next one, I actually heard it in my physical body. It's very loud. It's very loud. And I woke up my partner, and but I didn't know that I had, but I was sure that I had to have had, because it was so loud. And then I was awake. I don't know who or what I was calling to. I don't really feel like I'm the type of person to go calling for help, and being in that kind of a state of neediness. However, that part of it I don't know. So or I'm saying that there's things I do realize about why I'm immobilized, but also there's something more, and that's pretty much the whole thing. I woke up later. Asked my wife about it, and she said, "Yeah, I did hear you. I didn't get any help. I didn't feel anyone come to my aid or any of that, but that describes it as this sense that, well, my feeling right at the moment is I can figure it out and, in that assist myself. But that's all I've got about it. And I'm just wondering, it was very vivid experience there. Thanks, Kevin. Appreciate it. Duane or anyone have a similar experience? I've had the experience before, I have to say, of where I really felt I could not move. I was in the dream state and I was unable to move or control or make a release from where I was. It's happened a good number of times, actually. Any sharing on that would be, thank you very much, Duane and everybody.
Yeah, Peter, okay, this is for everybody. Yeah, and so I'll ask this. You can be in any situation, laying down or whatever. So the idea is that, and there's many, but basically, the reason no one came to help you is, yes, you're right. You need to figure it out and recognize it yourself. But the basic idea is to stop, be now, be grounded, okay? And watch that mind. All right, so you think all kinds of things about yourself and situations or whatever. See, stop moving, stop doing things, just stop and start now. And as you woke up in the physical, you were okay. It was just a temporary experience. But then again, it's always a new moment. It's always a new now. And what are you dragging with you? What are you considering? Are you grounded? Are you real? Etc. You got a lot to look over. Everybody does. I have to deal with my personal self too. So thank you for sharing. Thank you for showing up.